Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Holy Potatoes, We're in Space? Yes, that's really what it's called. So, this is, of course, a successor to Holy Potatoes, a weapon shop, the lovely sort of weapon shop management sim. And this is, of course, developed by the lovely Daylight Studios, this time with a publisher, Daedalic Entertainment, whose logo always reminds me of the Touchstone Pictures logo. And Daylight is, of course, quite interesting because they are, if I remember correctly at least, a Singapore-based developer, correct? Which, you know, Singapore isn't exactly a country known for its large number of game development studios just hanging around producing games, so that's kind of neat. So I guess that would make them a Singapore-based dev with a German publisher producing a game. So there you go. And this time they have taken this sort of potato-based universe that they've created and expanded on it, and have created a space exploration sim that takes the management elements of Holy Potatoes, a weapon shop, and expands on them significantly and adds an FTL-like combat, space combat and exploration. It isn't exactly like FTL in terms of the combat, but the similarities are very clear. So let's jump right into it and say, first off, the original Holy Potatoes was all about potatoes. Every character was a potato of some type, which was hilarious. But in this case, because you're in space and there are aliens, basically, other species, you are now in a universe of edibles, which means everyone is some sort of vegetable or other edible creature, basically. They are sentient vegetables. So you've got potatoes, you've got carrots, you have tofu, you've got beets and onions and all kinds of stuff. Which, first of all, is amazing, because the art style of this game, just the presentation in general, is fantastic. You may notice that the music in the background sounds very Ghostbusters-esque. That is on purpose. Every chapter of the game actually has this nice graphical little pop-up that happens when you start the chapter that is based on exactly what you're doing in that chapter. And this one is sort of Ghostbusters themed, and the logo for it was even like a sort of deliberate ripoff of the like Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2 kind of looking logo. And so the background music to this chapter sounds very like 80s synth Ghostbusters-esque, which is awesome. And every chapter is like that. It has this sort of great presentation style. They've gone all out with actually making every chapter different in terms of like the theme, which is kind of amazing. And also the art style is great. Every character has a nice style, and okay, if you don't like bad puns, then this game is probably gonna like make you bleed from your eyes, because it is filled with bad puns on purpose. Just terrible puns all over the place. Every character is some sort of reference to something. Every character you can hire is a reference to an anime character, a movie character, like another video game, something. So, this is the hub. Every chapter has one of these star hubs. You come back here to repair yourself, fuel up, which is free, and shop and things like this. And each of these little cubes is a different kind of shop. And this one you can buy resources, and this one you can hire new crew members. So let me show you some of this. This is Jason Spud Smith. Yeah. This is Max Kellington. And, oh, we also have Zeratul, by the way. God. Yeah, every one of these is some kind of obvious reference to something. I've even seen, I've seen lots of others. Lots and lots of others. I've seen, Saitama from, One Punch Man as well. There's all kinds of them. And everyone has a suite of skills that affect what they're best at doing. They'll start out with 2 skills and then 2 empty slots, and 2 skills at level 1, of course, at the earlier stages of the game. You can have a training room, which you can put them in to either increase the level of their current skills to make them more effective at whatever it is they do, or learn more skills to increase their usefulness at whatever it is that their kind of job is. And as you can see, everyone has some kind of something. As you can see, there's weapon crafting, just like a weapon shop. But in this case, you use the weapons on your ship instead of sell them. I don't have any money, so I can't do that. You've also got blueprints, which of course you use for actually crafting weapons. There are lots and lots of weapons in this game, which is awesome, and they're each quite different. There are many types of weapons. For instance, shrapnel, which is basically a flat cannon that hits multiple times across the ship, like a space shotgun. There are missiles that have splash damage, of course, because they're missiles. There's a wave, which is sort of like a sonic weapon that hits every part of the enemy ship at once. There are lasers that are very high damage, single part targeting weapons. They're also unique, they're just called unique, which tend to hit the category of random. They do all kinds of things, and every unique weapon is very different. But what I really like is in each specific type of weapon class, not all of them are the same. So although lasers are traditionally high damage single target weapons, that doesn't mean every laser is they're all the same. For instance, the succubus is a laser that also has a life leech effect, and the bat marks the target, which if I remember correctly is a debuff that increases damage against that target or something like that. I also have one of these on my ship right now, the flashbang missile, which has a chance to blind, heavily reducing the accuracy of what you hit. And there are lots and lots and lots of weapons. You can get various weapons from rewards and from crafting and things like that, and as you can see, they all have a rank, A, B, SS. I happen to use one of my laser specialists to craft this pea shooter here, and it turned out as a perfect pea shooter, which means that I just got a lucky roll because he had a certain percentage chance, being a laser crafting specialist, to craft a higher quality laser. So I obviously put him on the crafting table to make it, because it made the most sense, and I got a good roll, and it turns out I got an SS grade laser, so it's got a good crit chance, good accuracy. Basically it can't miss under normal circumstances unless there are specific debuffs in play, and it's got like guaranteed high damage. As you can see, it doesn't really have a damage range as much as it just does really good damage. But if your weapons are destroyed during battle, you do actually permanently lose them, and also your crew can be traumatized from this, so we'll go into crew management later. You also have various upgrades for your ship, and these are very expensive. And how this works at Shiny's Blings and Beyond, by the way, is you have to save up quite a bit of starch. Yes, that's what the money is called, of course. And you can buy assorted upgrades for your ship's various statistics. So you want to carry more fuel so you can be out farther out longer, because there are some planets that you can't reach in a single jump. So you're not always one jump away from going back to the hub and getting refueled. Sometimes you have to make multiple jumps to reach the farther out planets, which means you'll need a bigger fuel tank to do that more reliably. So fuel tanks are important. Storage for more weapons and weapon blueprints, always good. And of course, just upgrading your various facilities so they can hold more crew members to do more things at once to make your time more efficient. And you also have some choice when it comes to upgrading your ship in various capacities, like the capacitors. That was a good sentence. And you can use these to increase in various ways the way the charge system works, which I'll explain in combat. And you also have shield. You have a shield. You can move between different parts of your ship. You can only shield one part at a time. And these increase the sort of ability of your shield, how much damage you can take and how fast it regenerates, depending on which type of generator you get. Either specialize in a really tanky heavy shield that recharges slowly, or a lighter shield that recharges much more quickly, or somewhere in between. So there's a lot of choice and a lot of stuff to do, but that's not even getting into the ship itself. This is my current ship, the Starch Knot. Yes, that's what I called it. Sue me. Also cat, named Mochi. And you can go into each of these individual rooms to do their various tasks. Now, this is where the management comes in, and it's very important. As you can see down here, you have 22 souls left. Or I do, because I'm playing. And this is the very important part, and this is where the kind of FTL comparisons begin. If you remember in FTL, you can only be in a certain system for a specific amount of time. If you take too long to jump out of that system and move to the next one, the Federation cruisers and stuff will catch up to you and will own your ass and kill you because they are way stronger than you. This is similar to this game. You spend too long in a specific galaxy before warping out with that big gate you saw up here earlier, then the big bad will catch up to you and you're done for. So you have to keep moving. You also have, of course, a main objective, as I mentioned earlier, in the particular system you're in, so you're balanced between doing the various tasks on the ship, which of course take souls to complete. So if you want to craft a weapon, weapons take a certain amount of like days, I guess you could say, to complete. Training up new skills for crew members, having them research stuff in the research bay right here. Traveling takes a certain amount of time. Exploring planets, which is where you battle and get resources and things like that, and completing quests. All this takes time, but you can only do a certain amount of these at a given time, and eventually you will have to move on. So managing all of this becomes very, very important, and that's why having as many crew members as possible is also important. Right now I have Spuffy, yes, really, Scallion Johansson, God, George Looney, and Lilypad. And you also have a choice of multiple pilots, each with different skills, but I'm using the default one right now. So let's get into some travel. Go to the galaxy map and you can see where I currently can go. As you can see, this is what I was mentioning, there are currently other planets that I can't reach right now because I'll have to travel first in this direction, which will expand the sphere over here to allow me to jump again to these planets and eventually, you know, go out of the way to get to these. But of course that is dangerous, and you can die if you're not careful. So, this is the Soap Bubble Nebula, and I will like to explore it as much as I can. Hover over a planet, it will give you a basic overview of what to expect there. The neutral means that there will be an average amount of enemy... What in the world? Enemy encounters there. It's small, which means there's not too many actual encounters that will happen there. Difficulty 2, the number, or the types of enemies, the types of resources I'll get, and the types of weather to encounter there, which have an overarching effect on both you and the enemy that you encounter. So rain, for instance, makes it to where any sort of burning effect is cleared automatically. You can't, like, burn enemies in the rain. And every planet has its own sort of tile set for what it looks like, and its own types of resources to get, and that one's called Waka Waka, great, and its own difficulty and things like that. So we're going to go to Lilin to start off with because it's a small difficulty 2 planet. And that shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. Who knows, though? We'll see what happens. I really do need some more plasma, as you can see. I don't have very much of that, and that's useful for crafting lasers and stuff, so I want that. Here we go, travel, which will take some fuel and 1 sol. Normally I would want my spare crew members to be doing something during that 1 sol, but I don't have the money for them to do anything right now, so, you know, I can't really have that happen. Like, I would maybe want George Looney here to be crafting something, or, like, I don't know, researching something or improving his skills, but I just don't have the starch for that right now, or the resources, and there's nothing I really want to craft, I don't think. There is a hop scorcher that I could make. That would probably be a good idea. What does it take? 20? No, I don't have the plasma. Or the antimatter. Never mind. So yeah, I can't really have him do anything to make more efficient use of my time right now. I just have to focus on the exploration. So, here we go. Let's explore. So, you have your bridge people, or edibles as they're called, assigned to each of your weapons, and different people, as you saw, have different specializations, and if you have a weapon that they are able to specialize in, they can improve its abilities. If you see those numbers to the right, some of them are yellow, which means those are the default ones, and some of them are blue, which means they are improved. She, Scallion, is a laser specialist, so she is improving its health. It has 464 HP, which is more than it's supposed to have because she is crewing it, and so on and so forth. Each of these can be altered depending on the skills of who is crewing it, which is, of course, another necessary, efficient use of your crew. So you use who is best for each job if you have someone that can do that. So, I'm going to use some fuel and begin our exploration of Lilin, which is a beautiful planet, apparently. Every planet looks a little bit different, and will have its own various events. In this case, oh god. So, not only do you encounter enemies, you will also encounter various random events. Again, FTL style. And, in this case, it's a continuation of something else that happened before. I had to choose a Potoball, yes, and I chose, of course, Chilimander, because who else would I choose? And, in this case, it looks like I'm going to get into some sort of Pote battle with an Ash Ketchum XP. So, that's good. Rattado. So I have to actually do this battle as a random event, which is kind of amazing, because I was wondering if anything would come of having the Chilimander. I guess use Kindle? Or Ember, as it would be called. Oh, God. Yeah, use Kindle. Uh-huh. I knocked it out! Yay! I am the Pokemon Master. Oh, I get starch. Oh, just like how when you beat the trainers in Pokemon, they actually give you money and then run away. Very funny game. Capsimilian. Oh, wow. Like capsaicin, the stuff in peppers that makes them spicy. Very funny. Okay, so, oh, it's actually a lot of money. Sweet. And there you go, that was a random event. So all kinds of stuff like that can happen. You have lots of choices this time around. So, random events happened a lot in a weapon shop as well, but they weren't all that important. They were very random, as in you could choose the same thing, like the same outcome multiple times, and it would actually have a different effect. It was very random as to what happened. In this case, it's a lot more effectual. It's a lot more important, basically. And they're a lot more like the FTL random events, which I like. Okay, so this is the battle system. You have a shield, which you can switch between whatever you want to guard at the time, but of course it has HP as well, so it's not just like an invincible shield. I want to guard my slot 2 weapon right now because it has the lowest amount of HP, but it's also quite useful. Like I said, if you lose a weapon, it is gone forever. And you also have this charge meter that builds up depending on what your charge capacitors are like. Now you've upgraded them, and every weapon has a certain amount of charge that's used. One of the lovely portions of having a perfect pea shooter is that it uses 2 charge instead of 3, so I can use it a lot more often. And you can fire as many weapons as you have charge for. So in this case, I can actually fire a lot of weapons. And also, your pilot has their own abilities that sometimes take charge, sometimes have cooldowns, and sometimes both. And you'll just have to read the descriptions for each to find out what all they do. And as you go through the story, every pilot will get more abilities unlocked, and will also rank up their current abilities, making them stronger. Ooh, that's interesting. Takes 4 charge, but really enhances the damage. It's basically a berserker type ability. Okay. Well, we're not going to use any of those right now. We're going to use the pea shooter, and of course, like I said, the FTL similarities are clear. You can target whatever part of the ship you want, but in this case, he is currently shielding his hull. So I'll have to get through that shield first. But right now, I want to actually probably hit their pea shooter. It's going to do the most damage. And maybe, hang on, what's fog do? Lowers the accuracy of all weapons. So that's the current weather that's happening right now. In this case, I think I'm going to do the foghorn. It'll hit everything, so that's nice. And select all those and fire. We will fire. Our stuff will hopefully hit. There we go. Ooh, we got a crit on the shield. Nice. And they will fire back, hitting our shield, which is actually pretty good. And the battle will continue like this. Usually when you destroy both of their weapons, they will attempt to bribe their way out of the battle. And you'll get a good amount of money for accepting that bribe, but if you're able to destroy them before they leave, because of course if you don't take the bribe, they'll try to leave, you get more money. And also, you have a better chance of getting the blueprints for their weapons, it seems like, and sometimes just outright getting their weapons entirely. Alright, so he's still keeping his shield right there, so we're just gonna take this same strategy for now. There we go. So it doesn't have a particularly potent weapon. The succubus isn't a very powerful weapon, it just heals, which is annoying. But now we can really start hammering the crap out of the shield here. As you can see, his shield meter is almost gone, so this should destroy it if I actually hit. And I didn't hit, but I did blind the succubus there, so its accuracy should be crap because it has, yeah, that's nice. It's blind, and there's the fog effect. Alright, well we have a lot of charge, so we should be able to use everything and just target the hull. And every battle will basically go like this. And there are also boss battles, by the way, which are very difficult and often throw in... Ooh, that was a heavy hit. Often throw in extra different mechanics. And the boss battles can sometimes be sprung on you a little surprisingly, which is kind of a problem. But they're not too bad usually, they just can be a bit of a surprise. I'm trying to wear him down kind of unilaterally so he doesn't get the chance to run and I can destroy him. But one thing that can happen is that these boss battles will just surprise you and get you murdered because you just went through a fairly long area and are now damaged quite badly and aren't actually expecting any more battles for the time. And suddenly a boss shows up. That can happen, but the game does save fairly often. There is no manual save, unfortunately, but there's an autosave like every time you travel. There we go, got him. There we go, we earned a bunch of starch for that, and we also got the pea shooter, level 2 blueprint, which is nice. Because, again, if one of our weapons gets destroyed, I can craft another one. There we go. And because that was a small planet, that means the exploration is already done. There were only a couple of encounters on small planets. Medium planets have like 4 to 5. Small ones usually only have 2 or 3. And I assume there are large ones, and maybe even beyond that. So that's that. And now there are 20 sols left. Okay. I still haven't collected any ore samples yet, so obviously this probably isn't the planet to go to actually do that. But I do have some money now, which is good. And some more resources. I don't think that's enough to actually research anything. No. No, it's not. Not at all. What does it cost to actually improve someone's skills? That's not bad, actually. I could have him learn a new skill. That costs 3. I think I might try that, actually. Let's see what happens. It's going to take 3 days, basically, for him to learn a new skill, but he'll probably be a lot more valuable as a result. And that means everyone is at least doing something. So, to make sure we're repaired, let's go back to the hub, because that'll also save for us. Luckily, repairs and refuels are free. Boop. There we go. And now we will continue on to see where else we can go. And this is your gameplay loop. It's actually a lot of fun. It has the sort of a very good balance of management elements and a very, very good but not overly complex turn-based battle system. And I'm a fan. I think it's actually got a lot of possible... Ooh, this is a large planet. It's got a lot of possible sort of play value. You can get a lot of time out of this, I think. We'll try here real quick. There is toxic fog there, though, which I'm not exactly a fan of. Let's go to Waka Waka, because its name is silly. So, yeah, if you're into what you're seeing here, ooh, nice crit, then I would suggest you go check out the Steam page for this game. It is, of course, linked. Oh no! In the description below this video, and the game is only $15, and there is a pretty tremendous amount of gameplay here for that price. I think if you like what you see here, then you've probably already made up your mind, but it's a lot of fun, and at least I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think I prefer it to their previous title because there's a lot more just full-on gameplay elements to it that make it just a more enjoyable experience in general. There we go. Alpha Strike it. Yeah. Get a full weapon at some point. That would be nice. Ow. Well, that's less than awesome. But alas. And, yeah, just go check it out. I would say that it does everything it needs to do, basically, and it does it all pretty well because of how silly it is, and it knows it. And like I said, though, if you're not into bad puns, then I don't know what to tell you. But do go check it out. $15, not a bad price at all. Very, very fair. And I guess after we finish this, I'll have to wrap up the video. I don't want to wrap it up when I'm so close to getting through this, though. Yeah. Okay, they're gonna ram us. That's less than fantastic. I have to finish them off, like, now, or else I might lose some parts. Hopefully everything hits. Please hit. Yeah! There we go. And that's why turn-based combat systems can be very satisfying. Ooh, a level 3 missile launcher. And that clears that up. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you next time.